Milan Jaff is an Iraqi-born immigrant who moved to Finland at the age of 16 alone. Instead of taking the incredible opportunity he was given, he chose a life of crime, a life that earned him widespread hatred in this country. From rape to attempted murder and a string of other crimes, he's done it all. He arrived in Finland in 2017 on the basis of subsidiary international protection. That means the Finnish immigration service may grant you a resident permit even if you don't fully qualify for asylum, as long as your risk of bodily harm in your home country is deemed credible. You could call it an act of kindness. You're not quite a refugee, but you're still being looked after. Another part of this protection, as I understand it, is that it has to be renewed every year. They reevaluate your situation to see if the reason for protection still apply. Today, Jaff is sitting in prison and the Finnish Immigration Service has ordered his deportation back to Iraq. Online, many are celebrating the decision. People were simply done with his antics. He made rap music glorifying gang life and lived exactly the kind of life he bragged about. In 2023, he was charged and found guilty of rape and aggravated rape of a child, a 13-year-old. Photos from the hearing show him smiling, smug, completely unremorseful. He looked almost proud of what he'd done. So you can imagine the rage people felt, not just toward him, but toward the system that allowed him to be here in the first place. Finland already has problems. It doesn't need to import more. One massive question remains. How did it take this long for deportation to even be on the table? He was brought to Finland to be protected from bodily harm in Iraq. But what happens when such a person consistently inflicts bodily harm on others, the very people who gave him safety? What's even more outrageous is that his protection status isn't automatic. It has to be renewed every single year, meaning that every year someone looked at his record, saw what he was doing, and still decided to renew it. The system had a built-in opportunity to fix the problem, yet somehow it kept approving him. How does someone like that not instantly lose protection and get kicked out? He's currently serving 10 years in prison for leading an organized criminal group, the so-called Kurdish Mafia, responsible for multiple violent incidents around Helsinki. Think about that. A Kurdish mafia in Finland. This is one of those uncomfortable truths about immigration that we cannot afford to ignore. If a country isn't careful about who it lets in, it will eventually import other nations' conflicts. And when that happens, when a country imports another's problems, those same divisions don't magically disappear. They just move to new soil. You see it across Europe. Quick pause in the video. If you are enjoying this video, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you appreciate what I'm doing. If you want to support me further, you can do that by buying me a coffee. I'll leave a link below. Otherwise, just liking this video and subscribing is good enough. Thank you so much. Back to the video. When tensions between India and Pakistan rose, the UK grew nervous. With large communities from both sides, they feared those tensions would spill over onto British streets. You see the same thing with Israel and Palestine. European countries with large Muslim populations host the biggest anti-Israel protests. These demographic realities start influencing politics, even shaping what governments dare to say. In the UK, they now talk openly about the Muslim vote, a bloc that can sway elections and bend policy. It's creating real tension in the country. What starts as cultural tension eventually spills over into violence. Sweden is proof of that. It's now facing a gang violence epidemic it can barely contain. One of the most notorious networks is Foxtrot, led by Rawa Majid, nicknamed the Kurdish Fox. His family moved to Sweden when he was a baby. Now he's wanted internationally for drug trafficking and murder. He bought Turkish citizenship to avoid extradition and now lives comfortably there, running his Sweden network from abroad. Turkey refuses to hand him over. How they're still a part of NATO, I don't even know. But that's for another video. Now organized crime has become part of daily life in what was once one of the safest countries on the planet. And it's not the only network tied to foreign actors. Sweden let the cancer grow out of empathy, and now it has metastasized. They don't know how to kill it. The only cure left is radiation. El Salvador is a perfect example. Before President Nayib Bukele decided to go to war with the gangs, the gangsters ruled the country. People were killed, abducted, and extorted daily. Ordinary citizens lived in fear. It was one of the most dangerous places on earth. And during all that, humanitarian groups were silent. No one came to help. No one said anything. But the moment the government finally fought back hard, those same Western organizations suddenly found their voices. They rushed to condemn El Salvador for human rights violations.
Nos tocó encarcelar a 80,000 criminales para alcanzar esta paz.
Bukele said it best, and I'm paraphrasing. Where were all these humanitarian organizations when our people were being gunned down in the streets? Where were they when our children were being kidnapped and murdered? It's only now, when we finally have peace, that they care. It's now one of the safest places out there. That's what I mean by suicidal empathy. A compassion so misplaced, it ends up protecting the wicked instead of the innocent. It's the disease of the modern West. We think kindness is the highest virtue, even when it puts the people we love in danger. We're terrified of being called racist, even when it's completely untrue. When I look at someone like Milan Jaff, a criminal who's harmed people, I notice a tendency to overanalyze. We keep looking for reasons behind evil, as if every monster must have a tragic backstory or a medical label to excuse it. But sometimes the truth is simple. He made bad choices, he hurt people, and now he must face the consequences. Of course, there is nuance too. Some people do come from regions ravaged by war, where trauma and violence are normal. Some do struggle with mental health. But even so, it makes one thing clear. Finland and other European countries must be ruthless about who they let in, and just as ruthless about who they remove. Those who come here should contribute, not consume, not be parasites. They must buy into this culture, want to protect it, and see it prosper. You don't have to be ethnically Finnish to love this country. Anyone can learn to love it and be a blessing to it if they choose to. But that's only possible if they don't carry ideologies that make that love impossible. I get a lot of heat for saying things like this. People call me a traitor to immigrants or something. That's the problem right there. Immigrants are not a monolith. We're not a single people. Yes, I came from a different country, but this is my home now, and I want to protect it. I don't care who you are. If you're against Finland, then I'm against you. That's the real point of the Milan Jaff story. He was given an opportunity millions would die for. Instead, he chose to be a gangster, from rape to attempted murder to public menace. I have zero sympathy for him. All my sympathy goes to the people he hurt. If this story serves any purpose, it's to remind Finland what happens when it lets its guard down.